These are a few of the craziest wives and girlfriends out there. Number 7. Blackmail. Sharon Downing wasn't over her ex-husband Steve, so she decided to blackmail him. Steve and Sharon used to be married. Then in 2006, they called it quits. Steve moved on, meeting a new woman and settling down with her. Sharon, however, wasn't ready to put her ex in the past. Steve found himself in Lima, Ohio when Sharon texted him. While the details on their conversation aren't public, we imagine that Sharon poured her heart into those text messages. She missed Steve in a way that only a wife can miss her husband, a specific physical way. Steve agreed to meet her. They engaged in some taboo activities. And then Steve left. 40 minutes later, Steve got a phone call from Sharon. Now, she was blackmailing him. She demanded $10,000 or else she'd tell the new Mrs. Steve all about her husband's extramarital affair. Between a rock and a hard place, Steve called the sheriff's office and reported the incident. Over the next few hours, Steve went from being an unfaithful husband to an undercover police informant. As police watched from a distance, Steve renegotiated a better deal with Sharon and agreed to meet her at a local bank. As soon as the money changed hands, police swarmed in and took Sharon into custody. While Steve doesn't deserve much sympathy, blackmailing and extorting your ex still isn't cool. Sharon pled guilty to attempted extortion and patiently awaited her day in court. With no prior record, the judge may have been lenient on her. Still, her story faded into obscurity, so we wonder if she ever truly got over Steve. Number 6. $1 million. 26-year-old Lynn Helena Halfin was charged with 2 counts of money laundering, fraud, and exploitation of an elderly person after stealing money from her elderly husband, 77-year-old Richard Rappaport. That's almost 3 times her age. She raised some eyebrows when she tried to cash a $1 million check from her husband's account at a local check cashing store in Tampa. Employees refused to cash the check, so Halfin tried 3 more times that same day with different checks. Eventually, she succeeded in cashing $666,000 worth of checks. However, the employees called the police, and investigators questioned her husband. He told them that he trusted Halfin and didn't want her deported back to Israel. She was held at the Hillsborough County Jail in Florida on $1 million bail and pleaded not guilty to all 4 charges. Number 5. Bases loaded. Anna Benson had a rough start in life. In her sophomore year, she dropped out of high school and ran away from home when she was just 16. She started working at adult clubs in Atlanta and had a baby at age 17. She married her baby's father, but they got divorced shortly after. At just 20 years old, Benson was charged with the passing of 18-year-old Michael Evans when he was found deceased in her apartment. When police investigated, they found satanic graffiti all over her apartment, and Benson and her new boyfriend were nowhere to be found. Benson told police that her boyfriend convinced her to do it when they got involved, and they dropped the charges. 2 years later, she met aspiring Major League Baseball player Chris Benson while she was working at the club. They got married in 1999. Chris joined the major leagues as a pitcher, and Benson's lifestyle completely changed. Suddenly, she went from dancing at adult clubs to being married to a millionaire athlete. In 2004, the Pirates traded Chris to the Mets, and Benson appeared on the cover of FHM magazine. She was called baseball's hottest wife. In an interview with Howard Stern, she said that if Chris ever cheated on her, she would get revenge by sleeping with the entire Mets organization. Her outrageous behavior continued in the public eye when she was kicked out of the 2005 World Series of Poker for excessive cursing. The New York Times said that Benson's behavior overshadowed Chris's athletic ability in the MLB and was enough to distract the Mets from a good season. The Mets traded Chris to Baltimore, rumor has it, because of his wife. They almost got divorced in 2006, but decided to give it another try and had a second child together. In July 2012, Chris had enough. He served Anna with divorce papers. She was arrested for threatening Chris and charged with assault and criminal trespassing 1 year later. She pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 15 years of probation. But it didn't stop there. She got in trouble again in 2016 for trespassing and stealing mail from a home in the Atlanta suburbs. When Benson didn't appear for her probation hearing, the judge agreed to let her apply for mental health court instead. Number 4. Hidden camera. When Rob Riggle filed for divorce from his wife, He thought he would finally regain his independence and privacy. But this was far from the truth. In reality, his estranged wife, Tiffany, kept a close eye on him via a hidden camera planted in his home. In the beginning, Rob and Tiffany tried to save their marriage by staying in separate homes. However, they took turns staying in the family home with their kids, but it didn't seem to be working. He filed for divorce after 21 years of marriage. But Rob had this nagging feeling that he was being watched, since Tiffany always seemed to know where he was. He later discovered $28,000 cash missing from a safe in his home, and that someone hacked into his Apple ID and downloaded his private texts, contacts, photos, and emails. When he confronted Tiffany about it, she denied everything. For someone who lived in a separate home, Tiffany seemed to know an awful lot about Rob's private conversations with his assistant and new girlfriend. Then, she or anonymous sources would send him messages that referenced these personal exchanges. So Rob and his girlfriend made a plan to deliberately talk about false information to see if any of it would be leaked. Sure enough, it was. Rob searched his home for all electronic devices and discovered a hidden camera and a smoke detector in his home office. When he opened the device, he found a memory card with more than 10,000 videos dating back 7 months. There was even an incriminating image on the spy camera of Tiffany installing it. Another photo shows her sitting on the floor of his office and counting the stolen cash from his lockbox. He was granted a temporary restraining order against his ex-wife. He also sued her for damages and requested all videos obtained from the hidden camera be analyzed by a forensic expert and turned over to him. Number 3. The Hitman. Brenda Delgado was a dental assistant and aspiring medical student when she met the love of her life. He was a dermatologist named Dr. Ricky, and the two met on a dating app in 2012. Things moved quickly. After only 3 months of dating, they moved in together, and he gave her a promise ring that she proudly showed to her parents. Things were going well until Ricky broke up with her. They got back together for a little while, but broke up soon after. After ending things with Brenda for good in 2015, Ricky met Kendra Hatcher. Again, things went fast. The new couple seemed to be hopelessly in love. And like a lot of exes, Brenda stalked her ex-boyfriend's new love on Facebook. On the outside, Kendra seemed perfect. She was a stunning pediatric dentist who volunteered with her church's mission and provided free dental care to children in Ecuador. She spent breaks volunteering with Habitat for Humanity. Kendra's perfect life abruptly ended when someone took her out in a parking garage. Immediately, police turned their attention to the jealous ex, Brenda. But even Ricky couldn't believe that Brenda was capable of such a heinous act. Police believed them and eventually backed off. When they looked at security footage of the getaway car, they saw a Jeep SUV connected to a single mother named Crystal Cortez. She also denied the detectives' accusations. When the police dug a bit deeper, they found text exchanges between Crystal and a man named Christopher Love. Christopher had a criminal history dating back to high school, with charges including aggravated robbery and assault, but he'd never been accused of severe crimes. When police searched his car, they found a Smith & Wesson pistol, the weapon used in the crime. Christopher and Crystal were arrested and brought in for questioning, but no clear motive was established. Brenda and Crystal were close friends, so police knew Brenda had to be involved somehow. Eventually, Crystal's mother pressured her into confessing. Brenda and Crystal were actually close friends, and she eventually asked Crystal if she would be willing to help hurt her ex's new girlfriend. When Ricky found out, he was shocked. Brenda had been stalking him, tracking his phone and hacking into his iCloud to read all of his messages and emails. She even had a secret key to his apartment. Ricky moved back to his home in California, while Brenda will likely live out the rest of her days in prison. Number 2. Drunk and embarrassed. In April 2018, Amanda Soto, the wife of Florida Democratic Representative Darren Soto, was arrested at Walt Disney World in Florida and charged with disorderly intoxication. Soto grabbed her mother's bag to keep her from walking away near a bus route in Disney Springs. She caught the attention of Deputy Corey Heller since the mother-daughter duo seemed to be intoxicated and acting aggressively with each other. He tried to call them an Uber, but Soto started cursing at him and the Uber driver instead. Heller handcuffed Soto and put her in the back of the police car, where she began screaming and banging her head against the window in an apparent effort to hurt herself. However, those actions only got her further restrained so she couldn't hurt herself. Soto yelled that her husband was a congressman, so she can do whatever she wanted. She was brought to jail that night and was released on bond. Soto was charged with a second-degree misdemeanor. In response, Congressman Soto said that his wife had been treated for depression and recently stopped taking her medication under a doctor's supervision. He said that she drank too much, causing her to reach a volatile state that she deeply regretted. The congressman said that his wife would be reviewing her mental health treatment plan in the future. Number 1. The Finstagrams. Courtney Ireland Ainsworth gives new meaning to the term crazy ex-girlfriend. She was so obsessed with getting revenge on her ex-boyfriend, Louis Jolly, that she created a fake Instagram account on behalf to send herself death threats. The goal? Get him arrested. Courtney and Jolly dated for over 2 years until their relationship ended amicably in October 2019. Courtney jumped into a new relationship and seemingly moved on with her life, but things weren't what they seemed. From July to December 2020, Courtney made over 30 fake profiles and blamed her ex Louis Jolly for the horrible messages in her inbox. She called the police several times and provided screenshots and usernames she attributed to her ex. Some of the messages made particularly violent threats against her. Courtney also said she broke several of her items, damaged her grandmother's home, and threatened her new boyfriend. She also said that he falsely claimed that she was abusing illegal drugs. She submitted 10 police reports alleging that Jolly harassed and stalked her. She submitted photos of damaged items as evidence, including a photo of her chest where Courtney claimed Jolly had come at her with a weapon. As a result, Jolly was arrested 6 times and spent 81 hours in custody, including 1 night in jail. Jolly was charged with assault and stalking, given a restraining order, assigned a federally mandated curfew, and on top of all of that, he lost his job. At times, Jolly wondered if he would be better off dead. Even Courtney's mother got involved, telling police that Jolly breached his electronically tagged home curfew. When the police finally retrieved data from Facebook to back up Courtney's harassment claims, they found that the majority of Jolly's alleged accounts were traceable to Courtney's email and IP addresses. She was arrested in December 2020. When she confessed, police immediately halted all investigations into Jolly's apparent misconduct. Courtney's lawyer said she was just an immature 19-year-old battling from PTSD, complex childhood trauma. She was eventually sent to jail for 10 months and given a 10-year restraining order to stay away from her ex. But the damage was done. Louis was already a shell of the man he once was. Click to watch one of these next videos and let us know in the comments section who you'd rather date. Someone that's a 10 in looks but 4 in personality, or someone that's a 10 in personality but 6 in looks.